So previously in the second video on Rita Retail, we had transferred the COGS figures from here. We cut and pasted them over here and moved the figures around and then subtracted this and added those up, and we had arrived at the gross profit figure. What we want now is we've ordered these accounts over here, and we want to move those accounts over to here. I might just delete those figures there. I'll leave the account names, that won't matter. The first things first, selling expenses. Here they are. Here's 3 selling expenses. I'm going to select them all, cut and paste. Cut by clicking Control X, select where I want them to go and hit enter. They've disappeared from here, reappeared over here. I can be confident that all the account names are correct, the balances are correct. While I'm here, I've just selected those. I'm going to move them right there. I just clicked and dragged them, or you could have cut and pasted them. What else have we got? The next is administration expenses. Here they are. Here's my administration expenses. I'll select just the names of the accounts and their amounts. Control X to cut. Select this cell here and hit enter. There they are. While I'm here, I'm going to select those 2 there. You can cut and paste or click and drag them over into the second column. The last expense is the finance expense. Here it is. Select those 2, the account name and the account amount. Control X, select where I want it to go, hit enter. While I'm there, might move that over into the third column because that's ultimately where I want it to go. Might put it back in the second column. Here in the third column, we want to add up these 3 amounts. I'm going to select this figure here. It's a subtotal. I'm going to type in E, SUM for sum, bracket, then select those 3 figures. And there it is. Excel has added them up for me. These 2 figures here, I want to add them up as well. I might select this figure here. Just select that cell and do a Control C. Control C, select that cell, and cut and paste. Not cut and paste, copy and paste. If I click into there, it shows that it's adding up these 3 cells, but one cell is empty, so it doesn't matter. So what I've done here is Excel has added up 2,500 plus 56,000 is 58,500, but I've allowed Excel to do it for me. This last figure here, I put that figure back in the second column. I could have put it straight into the third column. I might leave it there, but I'm going to type in equals and then select that figure so they all have amounts in there. This figure here is the sum of all these amounts. 8.5 plus 58.5 plus 3 equals 70. But rather than do it manually, we want Excel to do it. So we want to sum up these 3 figures all in this column. So by selecting this cell right here, I'm going to type in equals SUM bracket, and I'm going to select these 3 figures in that one column. I could put the bracket on the outside of it or just hit enter, and there it is. So now we've got total expenses, which is the sum of these subtotals. And profit, rather than doing it manually, we want to deduct from the gross profit up here, we want to deduct our total expenses. So I select this cell here, type in equals, select my gross profit figure minus my total expense figures, then hit enter. I now have all the same figures, but watch this. If my purchase returns were different and they weren't 5,000, let's say they were 4,000, if I type in 4,000 there, boom bar, everything adjusts and flows through. I don't have to change one more thing than just that purchase returns. Let's put it back to 5,000. Everything adjusted all the way through here, down to here, all the way down to the profit figure. Let's say my purchases, maybe I made an error in my purchases and I didn't purchase 54,000. Let's say I purchased 55,000. Let's say it's the next month and I've grabbed this month's figures, or maybe it's the next year and I've grabbed this year's figures, and let's say my purchases were 60,000. By selecting this cell here of purchases equals 54,000, I just overwrite that and type in 60,000, and it all flows through and impacts everything else. And so all I need to do, let's say the next year my cash sales were 250. There it is. Let's say my credit sales increased to 25,000. Not quite. There we are. And it all flows through, okay? Because it's all interconnected with equations running all through my spreadsheet. This is the beauty of Excel. Here, if I highlight the areas, I'm going to put my thumb on Control on my keyboard, select that cell, this cell, that cell, this cell, that cell, that cell, that, this and that. I'm going to make them green. Those cells there, all of those cells have equations behind them, and if I change anything that is not, you know what, let's change this, 5,000, it'll all flow through. I'm going to undo those figures, undo that one, whoops, didn't want to undo that. Now I forget what these were, credit sales, 5,000. Oh, no, that was 240 and 12. There we are. This figure here was 54,000. There it is. Okay, for a profit of 30. There's that income statement. And I have used Excel to do all the calculations for me. If I've got another income statement I need to do, I could cut and paste this whole income statement into another spreadsheet, rename the top or rename the date, change the figures, and I've got a perfectly good spreadsheet I can use again and again. This particular one, what else did we have here? Okay, so the cash at bank and the balance sheet figures, they've all been put over here. I think I put them over there, didn't I? All right, let's have a look at this. Let's add these up. So opening capital, 3, did we got opening capital? Let's cut this, paste that over there. There it is. Drawings. We've got the drawings there. I'm just going to take that figure, I'm going to cut and paste it there. I know it's the same, but at least I've accounted for it. I'm going to come back here and delete the drawings. My liabilities, current and non-current. I'm going to select these, cut and paste. Where are they? Current liabilities. Here they are over here. They're not entered. I suspect they may have been missed off because it's difficult. Okay, down here amongst all these items, when they were all there, it was difficult, especially when they weren't grouped together. You had current liabilities up here and non-current down there. It's very easy to miss them. That's why doing it this way, ordering them, and then cutting and paste them, that way we won't miss them out. Now you may have put the figures in over here. I'm going to sneeze. However, there we go. Caught that. I'm going to put in creditors and the amount. I'm going to cut and paste. Here it is. There it is. It's disappeared from here, reappeared over here. Bank loan, I'm going to cut and paste. I can tell you've written that in because it's got the small b, whereas I had the big B. And with the creditors, what did you have there? Oh, you had creditors. No worries, that's good. But you'd written it in manually. Bank loan, cut, paste. Now, it's just, I'm not sure where your figures were. I think you accounted for them in your... No, I deleted them, didn't I? So that's okay. This second column, I'm going to do subtotals. I'm going to sum equals SUM, bracket. I'm going to highlight those 3 figures and hit enter. There it is. There's my equation. I'm going to select that cell, do a Control-C for a copy and paste. Now I've got those 2 added up. These 2 here, I'm just going to go equals the one next to it. I know you did this a little bit differently. It doesn't matter. You could have put these figures straight into the second column here. That would have been fine. Let's do total assets here. Here I want to equal sum. Those 2 figures there. And down here, I might just Control C that one and paste that in there. I'm going to double click on this, and there it is, summing up those two figures there. Net assets is total assets minus total liabilities. So I'm going to type in here equals, click on that cell, minus, select that cell, and that's our net assets. And it's got the equation behind there. This one here, you can make it equal this figure down here or that figure up there, okay? Equals that there. It's probably easiest to do that one because this one is quite easy. 365, 30,000. This figure here should say this and that. I'm going to type that in. Equals, select this, plus, select our profit. There's our 395,600. Less drawings. This figure here, while it is accurate, let's type in the equation. Equals that figure minus our drawings equals that. And then they both work out the same. Okay. That's how we use Excel to its maximum capabilities rather than doing it all manually ourselves. Writing it in manually, we may incorrectly transcribe the wrong account, like you might put in closing capital rather than closing inventory. We may type in a wrong figure somewhere or other, and it's very difficult to keep track and account for every single item that was over here. But when we cut and paste them all, they disappear from here, and we have entered them into our spreadsheets over here, into our financial statements, and we can now be confident that at least we have accounted for every transaction, for every account and every amount. We may not have put them in the right places, but at least we have accounted for everything, and that's a big bonus. We classified them in a certain way that enabled us to sort them easier. Instead of saying current assets, we call them assets current. This is just in Excel we want to do this so that when we sort things in Excel according to alphabetical order, it flows through in such a way that we can use it more easily. Group all our assets together, group all our expenses together, group all our liabilities together, and those other things were together anyway. But when we sorted them, they were together. And these figures over here, this figure, this figure, this one, this one, this one, these weren't so important, but at least that one and that one, they all had equations behind them, okay? Excellent. Thanks for that.